Okay, all right. What's up, man? Welcome. Who am I talking to right now?
Yo, what's up? I'm FTL Danny, and I'm a rapper, producer out of San Diego. And yeah.
Thanks for taking your time out of your day. So let's start at the very beginning. So the name itself, FTO Danny,
hmm
is pretty clean. Pretty memorable. It's
Yeah.
like, is there anything behind FTO? Is there?
Yeah,
What is it?
so FTL comes from, it stands for From the Land. And me coming from a Native American background, I am from the land, growing up on the reservation, and just out of California in general, that's the land, you know what I mean? That's like just something we
Yeah.
say, I'm from the land, and I'm like, it's stuck, it makes sense. And yeah, FTL just means from the land. I'm from the land. I'm from here, you know what I mean? And
Hmm.
yeah, that's the significance
All right.
behind FTL.
All right. That sounds pretty nice, man. So
Yeah.
every artist, producer, any type of artist has a moment where they knew like music was their path. Music was the thing they wanted to do. What
hmm
was your spark moment? When did you go from liking music to knowing you had to create it?
So music has always been in my blood. Music has always been a part of me, especially from my background being Native American. Growing up with our traditional music and performing that traditional music, and I've always been so in my culture, and I've been so into my culture from very young. I'd be up there with all the elders, and me just being the only kid there. But in terms of my music, in terms of rap and hip hop and where I started to feel like I should start doing this is around when I was in seventh grade ish. There was an incident I had with this kid where he was kind of a bully, you know what I mean? And
Hmm.
so I kind of I figured I was gonna take it a little bit different. Like instead of just beating his ass, I was gonna find another way to handle the
Yeah.
situation. So I got a little bit creative. So that day I ended up going home early. I said I was sick, but I wasn't, and so I went home early. I go to the computer. I go on my computer and I look up
Hmm.
how to make rap songs, how to record vocals, how to make
Oh.
beats. So I learned it all right there.
Okay.
I cook up a beat. I load it up into, I think I was using BandLab. And so then I get to recording. I make this song. I put it on my SoundCloud. I sent it to a few people at the school, not thinking much out of it. Next day I pull up to
Yeah.
school. I pull up to school and everybody was bumping the song. Everyone loved the song. And
Oh, damn.
yeah, so the song got hella clout, and even when the principals and stuff like that pulled me aside, they told me they were fucking with it. They liked the song. They said like, "Hey,
Oh.
you should do this." They sent me to ISS and everything, and even the ISS teacher was like, "Yo, this is a good song. I'm not even mad at you for being in ISS. This is actually pretty creative, and you should do this." And
Oh
so
shit.
it really lit a flame in me. I'm like, damn, like I made a song in 5 minutes, not thinking much of it,
Mhm.
and I'm not only and are the students coming up to me and saying this could be something, but the principals, the teachers, and the ISS teacher are like, yo, you should do this. This is fire. This is lit. So that's what really started the
Damn.
music thing for me, and ever since then I've been going crazy.
Damn, man, that's low-key beautiful. What the hell?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, how would you describe the music scene? Like you kind of came up in. What did you learn
Well,
from that environment, both on and off
yeah.
stages and stuff?
So I'm from San Diego, California. I'm from the West Side, but
Yeah.
I'm currently live in South Texas right now. So living in both areas in Texas, I get that swag. I learned from my
Yeah.
peers out here. I learned that swag, that the flows, all that stuff. And then back home in California, I get that West Side, that that meaningful, the bars. You know what I mean? That's where I get like the meaning
Hmm.
and the meaning behind what I do. I feel like that really comes from the west side part of me. Producing is definitely West Coast, but like my flows and like the way I rap definitely comes from the South.
All right, man, that sounds great. Your lyrics, they're known for being pretty nice, pretty flowful.
Yeah.
Can you walk me through your writing process? Do you start with like a concept, a beat, a specific rhyme, or like something else completely
Yeah.
different?
So sometimes it's a little bit different. Like I sometimes I'm coming to the studio and I have a flow in mind. I have a bar that I thought of that I typed earlier and I spit it, and I don't typically write my lyrics. I
Hmm.
just go with the flow. If I have a bar in mind, I'll just rap that bar and I'll just think real quick. I'll think of like the flow, I think of like the cadence and all that stuff. So I don't necessarily write. Sometimes it's if it's a beat I hear and that's what kind of sparks inspiration, or it's a flow and I find a beat to go with that, or I make a beat to go with that flow.
Hmm.
But typically when I walk in the studio, I just go off the dome and like I just go off of whatever I feel that day. So I'm very versatile in that sense. But yeah, every time is something different, but it all comes down to how I'm feeling that day.
Yeah, dang, bro. You sound pretty creative. So, where do you draw inspiration for your music and all of that? Are you pulling from like personal experience, just like looking at people make music or hearing people make music, or kind of like a mix of both?
I would say it's a mix of both. I definitely pull from my personal experience and what I know, and also from my peers, and also from the people that are in it with me. Like, or sometimes I'll just do my own thing. You know, I'll go at my own pace. I'll go at
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
that's true to me, and that's for the most part that's what I do. But there is some times where I, look at one of my collaborators, or one of my people that I'm close with in this game, and like I'll seek inspiration for that. And like, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna start doing that too.
Yeah. Is there a verse, or like a song you've written that like you're like really proud of? Like you're like, oh, that's like perfect. That's gonna be my best song.
Yeah, so one a bar that I had that I wrote that is that is very true to this day is I said something along the lines, they were hating on me, now they want to
Hmm.
flick up, meaning like they want to take pictures, and that's true. That's
Yeah.
that's real, because like when I first dropped my first album, it was okay. It wasn't the best of what I could do now, but at the time I treated it like it was the best thing I could have ever made. I had so much confidence in
Mhm.
it, but I had a lot of hate. I got a lot of hate from my first album,
Yeah.
and now that I'm on my third album, I get a whole lot of people, supporting me all of a sudden. The same people who weren't rocking with me then now want to rock with me now. And when I pull up to
Yeah.
school, people want to, flick up, want to get pictures and stuff like that. And it's like, it's crazy because
Yeah.
like that energy wasn't there when I first started it. But when
Yeah.
they start to see my success that I have on social media that I post about, or when they see my monthly listeners go up, when they see the streams I get on my songs, on the same songs that they hated, and they see that I'm making money off of
Mhm.
this stuff, I'm making 200 a song on this stuff.
Yeah.
Once they see that, now they're trying to change up. Now they're trying to act like we cool. So
Damn.
that bar
Yeah.
really holds weight to this day.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So like do you have like some sort of like really studio thing you do? Like do you like lock yourself in for like so long, write stuff, or are you like
Mm-hmm.
you just have a burst and then you just start writing?
Yeah. Sometimes
Like what type of like
sometimes I'll get like this. I don't know what I would call it. It's just this spark in my brain where I could just go crazy. I'll load up FL. I'll pull up some beats and I'll rap on all of them. Do a whole song. Do 5 songs in a night.
damn.
Back to back.
Damn.
And focus
Yeah.
locked in, and then I'll engineer them. I'll mess with the vocals and stuff like that. And boom, I have so much unreleased songs. Like if you look at my files, like I have 3 big files where there's
Yeah.
over 500 songs, like unreleased songs that I
Oh my
have. So I
goodness.
have a lot of material because when I go in the studio, I go in the studio like as if my life depends on it. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna be back in the
Yeah.
studio. I just have that discipline when it comes in the studio. I can knock
Mhm.
stuff out, and especially with my experimenting, I try a lot of new flows. Like a lot of the time I hop in the
Mhm.
studio and I try stuff I've never done before and I nail it. You know what I mean? Because that's how I really love what I'm doing. I really love this industry, and I'm really focused. And so yeah, there'll be nights where I just hop in the studio and it's game over. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, so damn. So you're really just like locking and just create whole lot of songs.
Yeah, locked in.
Yeah. So every every music artist kind of stands on the shoulders of giants, right? Who are the hip hop legends that shaped your sound and your approach to the craft,
Yeah.
the craft of music?
So growing up, I was always put onto the Young Thug and Future, and I grew up on
Hmm.
Slime Season. I grew up with that music. Those were my favorite rappers, and I was listening to them before it was even cool to listen to them. But in terms of like, especially like the music I make, I would say I would definitely throw in there Little Tecca and Playboy Cardi and Drake. And like my sound is so versatile that I'm like I could say I'm inspired by all those people, and I am. Like a lot of my songs, the
Yeah.
production and the vocals, they pay a lot of homage to Travis Scott and again Tekka and Playboy Cardi and Future and Kanye, and like, so yeah, I would say those are
Hmm.
my main inspirations.
That's a pretty good list. Beyond hip hop, beyond rap, are there any like kind of like unexpected genres or like other artists that have influenced your music that aren't like kind of hip hop, rap, and other stuff like that?
Well, yeah, I definitely experimented with
Yeah.
R&B here and there, and for that I would say Drake, with the softer
Mhm.
like vocals and like the less hardcore trap stuff. You know what I mean? I definitely
Yeah.
give props to him. I pull from like just the way his storytelling and his flows and stuff like that. That's just how I am. Like I could on one album you can have a song from me that's hardcore rage, trap, and then the next song it could
Yeah.
be some R&B slow, like some player shit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so like I can be very
Yeah.
versatile. You could send me any beat and I'll hop on it and I'll rip that shit up. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
yeah, in terms of other genres, I would definitely say R&B is a genre that I am pursuing outside of hip hop and rap.
Oh, all right. That's pretty nice, man.
Yeah.
So, how would you describe your own sound to someone who's never heard your music before? Like, what's your signature?
One word to describe my sound would be versatile. That's the only word that really
Versatile.
describes my sound and really grasps my sound because again, you could pull one of my albums and on one album you can have some
Yeah.
hardcore trap and R&B
Yeah.
on the same one. So
Yeah.
I experiment. I love to experiment. I like to pull beats up that I've never rapped on and try it, and experiment and and I kill it most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, one word to describe my sound is versatile. Done so many different flows, so many different genres. It's crazy.
Yeah. Damn. So you really just experiment a lot with anything. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. I'll experiment with anything. You send me a beat, and I'll try my best. I'll never
Yeah.
turn down something like that.
So I ask this question frequently. If you
Hmm.
could collaborate with any artist, living or dead, who would it be and why?
Okay, so if I was to collab with any artist, definitely would be Tekka, Lil Tekka, Travis
Mhm.
Scott. Playboy Cardi. That's the obviously huge figures in the hip hop scene
Yeah.
today. You know what I mean? And there's also people I looked up to for a long time, and again, people I pull inspiration from. So those are people I definitely want to collaborate with. That's
Yeah.
all later down the road, of course. But like, you know, if they're
Mhm.
watching this right now, those are the guys that I would definitely hop in the studio with. You know what I mean?
Yeah, those are some good picks. So if a listener could only take like one thing
Hmm.
like to their heart from your music, like a core message or like a feeling, what would you want that to be?
One thing I definitely push for sure, whether it's in my music or on my social media or on my YouTube, is just do it. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah.
Don't give a shit about what people say about you because it's all gonna work. It's gonna seem corny in the moment, but once those same haters are starting to want to vibe with you, you're gonna see the impact you made. Drop that album. You have those unreleased files, drop them. You have that YouTube video, drop them. You have that reel, drop it. You never know where it's gonna go. Like I've had some reels where it's blown up, or some songs have blown up, and I get 30,000 streams on it. I never thought it would. You know, so
Hmm.
you really never know what could happen at all.
All right. So your music, it kind of touches on like, gritty kind of themes, how do you balance authenticity and like storytelling?
I guess for me, it's all about staying true to what I lived and what I've
Hmm.
seen. I don't try to force anything just to sound mainstream. Like I'd rather make something that's real that could connect to my audience. Uh,
Hmm.
and if the song is authentic, it'll reach the right audience. It'll reach the people it needs to. But yeah, for sure. And the commercial side of it matters for sure. But I never let it change who I am.
Okay, so we kind of talked about this in these questions. How important is it like for you to represent your community and your background in your music?
Oh, it means everything to represent my community. I come from a
Yeah.
community that is super underrated, and where I come from,
Hmm.
there's just so much talent where I come from, and like I want to displace that. I want to show that to people, especially coming from a Kumeyaay Native American background. I want to put that
Hmm.
on the map. I want to put my reservation on the map. Viejas Reservation, that's where I'm from, and so I
Yeah.
I want to make that very clear in everything I do. When I do photo shoots, I wear native brands. I wear, bandanas with native styles on it, and I
Yeah.
wear my beadwork. I wear stuff like that. I want to express my culture and my background and my community. So everything I do is for my community. Everything, it's all for my community. It's all for my people.
Yeah, that's good. Let's talk about your latest album. Yeah, so what was the central idea you were trying to like put out and like explore with this release?
Yeah, okay, so Exorcist was a project that I came up with. It was fresh after I dropped my long awaited album Project FTL, and I was
Yeah.
thinking about it. I'm like, I need to capitalize. I need to drop something. I need to go harder. I need to go better. Exorcist,
Hmm.
the whole point of Exorcist was the production is gonna be like nothing I've ever done. The vocals are gonna be like nothing I've ever
Yeah.
done. Everything,
Hmm.
I had to go insane on this one. The production's insane. The beats I have on there is insane. My vocals are insane. Something I've never done before. So yeah, Exorcist, my latest project is something that's out of this world in terms of production and
Yeah.
vocals and the way I promoted this one.
Mhm.
And so,
Yeah, I really enjoyed that album, to be honest, man. Like,
thank you, I appreciate it.
yeah. So, what's the biggest lesson you've learned, kind of about the music industry so far in your career?
One thing I learned is you have to be consistent because, and this goes for anything, you just have to be consistent. Again, you have to drop that music video. You have to drop those promo videos. You have to, drop that TikTok video, because the moment, in even music, you need to drop that album, you need to drop that single, because that's something I've learned from
Yeah.
experience. I noticed when I stopped dropping for a while, I see my monthly listeners go
Mhm.
down. I see my views go down. I see my followers go down. So a big part of it is is just being consistent. That's what you got to do.
Yeah.
You got to post 3 times a day, 5 times a day if it has to be.
Hmm.
You have to be posting. You have to be, and that goes for anything. That doesn't goes for just music. That could go for even what you do as an interviewer or a
Yeah.
podcaster. You
Mhm.
know, you have to be
Yeah.
consistent. You have to, drop those videos, drop short for content. So that goes for everything. And I've had
Yeah.
experience myself in YouTube and like in different things, like especially if you run a fan page and stuff like that. Keep dropping.
Hmm.
You got to drop because once you lose your momentum, people are gonna stop fucking with you. People are gonna they're not gonna gravitate to you as much as they once was. And so, just speaking from
Yeah.
experience, a lot of things I see,
Yeah.
on up and coming artists is they try to hop on that trend of being mysterious.
I
I
yeah.
see a lot of newer artists with 200 followers trying to hop on that Playboy Cardi mysterious type of wave, and it's like you can't do that with 200
Mhm.
followers. You can't just have an
Yeah.
account with a SoundCloud link and 2 posts on it and no reels, and that's why your
Mhm.
following looks the way it does because no one's gonna resonate with that. You have to
Yeah.
keep posting. Once you're in your earlier stage, when you're in your early stage as an artist, you have to post. You have to do all that stuff. Once you get to a bigger level, you don't have to do that as much because you built that core fan base. I just see that, and
Mhm.
I sometimes I call it out and I tell them like, hey, dude, if you want to really take this somewhere, you gotta post. You gotta build a brand. You gotta do something different.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's one thing I would say is like just be consistent and the whole mysterious, nonchalant, whatever bullshit doesn't really work in this day and age when you're a smaller artist and you're a smaller YouTube count, when you're a smaller fan page. That's not gonna work.
Yeah.
It's not gonna go anywhere.
Yeah, you really just gotta stay consistent. Yeah, I
Yeah.
get you. Yeah. So, looking ahead, what's a major goal you're working towards? Like, is there a dream venue you want to headline in, or
It's
like a specific artist you want to work?
a
Yeah.
venue that I'd really want to do is the South Padre Island Clayton's Bar show. Definitely, I would love
Hmm.
to go perform at my casino in Viejas Casino and Resort. I would love to perform there. A lot of big artists come there too. I would love to be one of those artists that headlines the thing, and definitely, I would love to open for like a big artist like Travis or Tekka or like
Yeah.
one of those artists at like a Rolling Loud or something like that. That's definitely a
Mhm.
goal of mine. And in terms of collaboration, again, like the people I mentioned earlier, I would love to collab with Tekka or Playboy Cardi or Future or Travis Scott. Those are all dream collabs and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a great goal, man.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, for the fans, like those few fans or however many fans who have been with you since the beginning, and like, and the new ones who are just discovering you right now, what's your message to them?
I just want to say I appreciate who's everyone who's been rocking with me since day one, and the new ones joining in now. Welcome to the ride, I guess. I'm still growing, still learning. I'm doing this for the people. Who really believe in what I'm building. I'm doing this for the people that really believe in me, and I intend to build something big off of this. And just know everything I drop comes from a real place. Everything I drop it comes from meaning, and I'm doing this for my people. I'm doing this. Well, I'm doing it for everyone.
Do you have anything in the future, any project, or even just like a feature you might be on that like you're allowed to
Hmm.
share anything you're excited for?
Yeah, I definitely have some stuff coming for Halloween. I'm gonna be dropping a deluxe to my Exorcist album. I'm gonna have more collabs on it. I'm gonna have a lot more tracks on it. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna have a whole
Mhm.
different vibe to it. It's gonna really embrace the season. And then that's like the biggest project I have ready is the Exorcist
All
Deluxe
right.
album. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for that.
For my Exorcist Deluxe album, I would some artists that you could expect to see on there is my boy Dre Young. Definitely get one of my main producers, Siaxa. He's definitely gonna be on that project. But yeah, it's gonna be
Yeah,
crazy.
sounds great, man. So, final question, last and final question. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Okay. So in 5 years, I see myself growing way more as an artist. Better music, bigger audience. More of a solid foundation. Um, I don't need to be the biggest name in the world, but I want to be respected for what I create and what and have a loyal fan base that really connects with my sound. You know,
Mm-hmm.
um, obviously mainstream is the goal, but like in all honesty, reality, in 5 years, I just see myself growing a more loyal fan base and just building my brand even more.
Yeah, all right. That sounds great, man.
Yes, sir.
I just want to thank you so much for sharing your time and your
Hmm.
thoughts at this interview. So, it
Yeah.
was a great time. It was a pleasure having you.
Thank
Hope
you.
you come again, man.
It's been a pleasure being on the show, and I just want to say to you, I hope you go far, and I know you will go far. Again, just stay consistent. Keep posting, keep
Mhm.
having people on the show. Short form content is gonna be your guide. Is gonna be your key. I just want to say to you, thank you for having me, and I show all respect to you.
All right. All right. See you, man.
Yes, sir.